Hey Mama, I want to talk to you about your career trajectory, about where you're headed with your career, and I want to give you one simple but super effective tip to have it skyrocket, right? To have you advance your career in the way that you want to, right? And that might be getting promoted, or it might be taking on new responsibilities, or even just doing more of the stuff you're already doing that you love to do. Whatever it is that you want from your career, the direction that you want it to go, I can tell you that there is one very effective thing you can do to help make that happen. And it's a thing that for some reason, a lot of people just don't do. I don't know if they don't realize how helpful it is, or maybe they realized it and then they forgot. But that one thing is to solve your boss's problems, right? Think about it. Your boss has so much influence over your career trajectory. Whether you want to get promoted in place, get promoted into another department, work on more of the things that you like to work on, or work on something completely different, your boss has a ton of influence into whether or not you can do those things. And one of the ways that you can ensure your boss is going to want to help make sure that you are the happiest worker possible is when you solve their problems. So let's start with this first question of, do you know what your boss's problems are? Do you know what keeps your boss up at night? If you don't, you need to find out. And you can do that by simply asking. The next time you have an opportunity to meet with them, ask, hey, by the way, what work-related, of course, keeps you up at night? What are the issues and the challenges that you're facing? What are the things that give you the biggest headaches? Ask your boss and get these answers. And then, once you know what their problems are, you can do one of two things. You can either directly attack that problem, or you can indirectly attack the problem. And here's how you do that. When it comes to the direct approach, it's the one that's most obvious, right? The boss says they have a problem, and you're like, I can fix that for you. Let me go do it. Let me give you an example of how I've done this in the past. So once I had a boss, and she had a big issue with the budget. We were not coming in on budget, and it was starting to turn into a problem. Now, while working on the budget wasn't specifically my role, I did have a lot of understanding about where the costs in our department were. So when I found out that this was her problem, I met with a bunch of other analysts, and I said, hey guys, where do you think we can be saving money? Can we just create a big list of areas where maybe we're either inefficient or spending more than we need to? We got together, we created the list, and I gave it to my boss and said, hey, we came together and created a list of where you can save money, where in the department, if we make some changes, we'll be able to we'll have a positive impact on our budget. And that helped her to figure out what she needed to do to make our budget work. I directly helped to solve her problem. And that one is pretty obvious. What's not always so obvious is when the boss has a problem that you can't solve directly, right? But you can always indirectly help them. And here's how. For example, once I had a boss and he needed to create a risk plan, and it was taking him forever, and he really was just stuck on doing it. Now, at that time, I had no idea how to create a risk plan. I didn't even know what one was really, but I knew that it was his problem. And so I started asking him a little bit about why it was a problem. And as it turned out, he just needed more time in the day, right? Based on everything he was saying, he didn't have enough time to sit down and go through it. So I came up with some ways to help him get more time in the day. I took over a few administrative tasks. I sat in on a couple meetings for him and took very diligent notes. So it was like he was, in the meeting himself. And I also sometimes even got him lunch. And I know you're thinking, Whitney, you went and got him lunch? Yes, I went and got him lunch because he needed more time in the day. And it took 20 to 30 minutes just to go get lunch. And what I did though, and this is the trick, is each time I did one of those indirect things, whether it was taking on some administrative tasks, sitting in a meeting, or even going to get lunch, I always reminded him of why I did it, right? So I'd bring the lunch back and say, hey, happy to get that for you. How's it going with the risk plan? Did that give you the time that you needed to make some headway? Did that give you the time that you needed so that you could further focus in on developing out our risk plan, right? Always reminding why I was doing what I was doing to help him out. And in that way, help to indirectly solve his problem, right? Getting him more time so that he could work on the risk plan. Solving your boss's problem is key to helping get the right people in place to influence where your career goes. And so I want you to take some action, right? Because like this is a cool video and it's fun to talk, but at the same time, if you don't take any action, your life isn't going to change. And I want your life to change for the better, of course. So let's talk about what you need to do next. You need to first understand what your boss's problems are. So if you don't know, ask. Set some time right now to figure out what your boss's problems are. If you do know what they are, or once you figured it out, create a plan. Identify where you can either directly or indirectly help to solve those problems and get it done. If you'd like some more career advice, if you want to learn how to advance your career without sacrificing that precious time you have with your kids and your family, then I want you to check out my course, Get Ahead Without Staying Late. Get Ahead Without Staying Late is a very simple to follow course, digital course. You can do it in 5 minutes a day. And with it, after about a week, you will have a solid plan in place so that you could further advance your career. Whether it's wanting to get promoted or work on more things that you enjoy, you will get that plan from the Get Ahead Without Staying Late course. I hope that you enjoy it. You can find information on it in the comments below or go to my website, The Savvy Working Mom.